Hi, Don.
Hi, Jacob.
I can show you the world.
Please don't.
Shining, shimmering, splendid. That's going to be on the... I think I'll get more views for that with my face.
Surely.
Yes.
Yes, I don't want my face associated with it.
I don't know why I sang that. What are we talking about today?
So today we are going to talk about destination weddings and traveling for photography jobs.
Heyo. Is that a thing?
People will pay you
To go
to
places?
travel for photography jobs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it then.
Yeah,
Have you ever done one?
I have. I have done them, and I've done them at different stages in my
I asked that
career.
because I have to.
Well, but it's a good start because
Yes.
I have done them at different stages in my career. And what I did in the beginning is not what I think you should do now.
So, right off the bat, is a destination wedding, say like, I'm going to take you to Hawaii and get married. Is that a vacation?
Oh, absolutely not.
Thank you.
No. Okay, first off, just the stress of packing all of your gear and traveling with all of your gear makes it feel like it's not a vacation.
Correct.
Because when I travel, I don't take my full rolling bag of camera equipment. I have like my little small travel kit. I don't take everything. But when you travel for a job, you got to take everything. And it's not easy.
No.
So no, it is not a vacation.
Because I feel like a lot of times, and maybe when we started out too, people think of like, oh, I get to go to Paris. I get to go to New York. I'm going to shoot a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? I mean, you can make it. I'm sure there are some people that be like, yeah, I just do whatever. But if you're truly focused on photography and that's your job, there is nothing relaxing vacation about it.
Yes. So I did have my first destination wedding before I was doing photography full time. So in my head, it was kind of a different scenario. But we did make it into a vacation. We ended up going to, so the wedding was in Boston. And my cousin was getting married a week prior to that in New Jersey. So we flew.
Smart.
So Ryan came as my second shooter. We flew to New Jersey for my cousin's wedding. Then we spent the next week in New York with my other cousin who lives in Brooklyn. And we did all sorts of New York fun things.
Sure.
Then we took a bus to Boston. And then we photographed. We rented a car in Boston, drove. The wedding was like an hour outside of Boston. And then we were with the wedding party for like 2 or 3 days. Photographing like a little bit at the rehearsal, not rehearsal dinner, but like the after rehearsal activities, and then the wedding itself.
Yeah.
And then we flew home. So we did turn it into a vacation, but it was a very unique point in our lives where we had the flexibility to do that. Ryan could get time off from his job. I had a real full-time job that I got paid vacation from. So we took paid vacation from that job. So, different scenario, but it allowed me to agree to like, they, basically just paid for like our hotel in Boston and like I think the flights to and from, but then they didn't pay for the photography.
Yeah. That's where I know we're going to get into this, but I think that's a big difference too of like when it comes to getting paid for destinations wedding, like what are you charging for? What and everyone's different, but just because they're paying for your flight there and everything else, you still need to get paid for your shoot.
Right.
In theory.
Yes.
In theory.
If you're doing this as a big kid.
Correct. Now that hasn't been said before too, where like I've done some, I shot a wedding in Hawaii, it was a vow renewal. And we turned that into a larger vacation. Mm-hmm. So like the wedding was 1 day of it. And we just threw in our pricing into that and then paid for our own plane tickets. But like we knew that like, that day was for the wedding. We were going there for the wedding. Luckily it was like the first day after we got there. So then the rest of it was vacation. But if you go there thinking, oh, I'm only there for 2 days and I got the wedding both days, I'm going to have a vacation. It's not going to happen. So then if you're not getting paid for it, Was it worth it?
That's why I have done fewer and fewer destination related things.
Correct.
The further I've gotten into my career, because I have to think about what is the potential money lost
Yeah.
by being gone for those days. So like, let's say you're just doing the wedding one day. Well, I'm not going to fly in the day of the wedding.
Yep.
I barely even like to drive in if it's like more than 3 hours away. Like I don't even like driving in the same day. And then chances are you're going late enough that you're not going back home that same day.
Yep.
So now you're looking at 3 days. Well, if I had done that job at home, I would have probably worked
All 3 days.
all 3 of those days.
Mhm.
And now I'm only working one day. So you have to balance, like, is it a big enough opportunity? Now, depending on where you are in your career or what you want to be doing moving forward, there's different value. It doesn't always have to be like the dollar amount,
Correct.
right? Like,
Or if it's a great location that you just want those photos out.
right. Right. Or let's say like you want to start making it a thing that you do destination weddings at a particular resort in a particular country and you're getting an opportunity. Well, just the value in that advertising potential.
Yeah.
You know, so like you just have to consider like what is the value of taking that versus the potential of what you could have made if you were at home. Now, if it's during slow season versus during busy season, like those are all things you kind of have to think about. But don't forget that you're losing all of those days and what could you have made in
Yeah.
all of those days.
Say you charge $3,000 for a wedding. Just whatever. I'm throwing that number out there.
Mhm.
I obviously charge $35,000 per wedding.
Sure.
So this is ridiculous money.
just for easy numbers.
But say you charge $3,000 for a wedding.
Mhm.
Okay. But say like they're going to offer your hotel and your airfare. So that costs them maybe up to $2,000
Mhm.
at that point. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll do the wedding for $1,000 or $2,000. So in there, I mean, the couple's eyes, they've paid $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, but
Mhm.
you've really still only made $2,000 or even $3,000. And again, you spent your entire weekend there when you
Mhm.
could have shot a wedding on Friday, Saturday, portrait session on Sunday,
Mhm.
family portrait on Sunday, and you would have made a lot more.
Or you would have been doing your admin work that you really can't do when you're like, you can tell yourself like, oh, well, I'm going to fly in and then I'll have that whole afternoon
and I'll
to
be
edit and do
business.
emails.
You ain't gonna do any of that.
It's not going to work because like you'll bump into them in the lobby and they'll be like, oh, we're all going for drinks. You want to come with us? And what are you going to say? Like, no,
Yep.
you know, like you really have no control over your time once you've traveled for a particular job. Like, even if you're only charging them for the 8 hours of the wedding day, like other things are going to come up and it's not like common courtesy to blow all of that off.
Right.
So, you know, even if you're not losing a job day, you might be losing an admin day, which can be just as valuable because now you have to bump something else to do that later.
And I think it's a hard thing I think clients get spooked a little bit when you say, well, this is how much it's going to be because it's a big number.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. You might have to educate them that be like, listen, this is just paying for this and my time. You understand that I'm actually going to be with you so much more, or I'm going to be missing out on this. So yeah, it is a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you do it, but I kind of learned from some other people is that like, I don't charge per, like, I don't want the couples buying my airfare tickets or I don't want them buying my hotel.
Mm-hmm.
That will be, that'll be in the full price that you pay, which that might require some education too. And then I will book my own travel, my own hotels for those reasons too. Just because I don't want to be on their hook. Like, I don't want to deal with any issues that they dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
If you have credit card miles and points and things, let me book it so I get the rewards for it.
Or like some people who, like Stephanie with her Disney cruises, she's gaining like loyalty points for all the cruises she's booking.
Correct.
So if they book it for her, she loses that.
So,
But she knows
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I will offer a like all-inclusive package that I'm including what I need for travel, airfare, plane, hotel, whatever. So you can either pay that or here's just my wedding packages and you have to schedule everything else.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't had an instance where like I don't have anything where I'm collecting miles or points and I haven't stayed in it. And, you know, I don't only stay in Hilton's or something like that. So I haven't worried about it. I've let them choose because I'm fine booking it all myself. But like the most recent one I did, they had a travel agent that was booking everyone's travel. So
Sure.
for the bride and groom, they were like, oh no, we'll just add you to the list. And it was actually easier for them that way because then we were on their guest list along with all the other guests to have access to like all the same things the guests were having access to because it was an all-inclusive resort. So I've done it both ways, where they've scheduled the travel and where I've scheduled the travel.
I just don't trust anyone else. I just don't want to put that extra. I get it, but
Mhm.
like I want to be almost insulated from them. Be like,
Mhm.
I will be there. Don't worry, but I don't need to be on
Mhm.
your dime. But like I know where you shot though, that was a very private thing where it was needed to be there, so that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see it going both ways. I can see it being a benefit to the couple too, because if they have miles and points they
Yeah.
want to use
Correct.
to buy my ticket or, So I don't have a hard and fast on it. I kind of play it by ear depending on what the job is and how long it is and all of that.
You kind of mentioned cruise weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Go into more detail about that because I think that's the biggest one, especially here in Central Florida. Very close to cruises.
Mm-hmm.
Seem like a great idea. They're fun to shoot. You get to be out on this. It's like a vacation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, is it?
Well, here's the thing. If I'm doing a cruise wedding, like, it's not the vacation I wanted to take when I wanted to take it with who I wanted to take it with. So it's not really a vacation.
Yeah.
It's great when I've done some with Stephanie. And so like she and I get to hang out and normally we've had multiple weddings on the ship. So really we're like working the whole 3 days
Yeah.
between the two different couples. And so like
That's wild.
yeah. Yes. Yeah, like one ceremony one day, one ceremony the other day.
I mean, if you're going to be
Doing-
efficient though, to get
doing
as much
fireworks at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the fireworks was the only part that conflicted, which is why she had to bring me in the first place. Was just so we could each shoot one of the couples at fireworks, and then I was the second shooter on both weddings. So yeah, I mean it's fun, but I don't think I could sustain doing that
Yeah.
because I mean I'm not getting paid any more than if those things were happening on land, and now I'm losing days.
And I know I have never photographed a cruise wedding. I'll be straight up. I have photographed cruise events, but not a cruise wedding. And I've been in a cruise wedding though.
You have.
I don't know if you ever heard about Dean. He got married on a cruise. But
Future episode.
future
guest.
episode. There's something about me though that'd be like, I would never feel like I could come out of my room because even when I'm not working, like I have that problem just at weddings. Like when I take a break or leave,
Mhm.
like I feel like if I can be seen, I feel like I should be shooting. And the thought of me just walking down the hallway and seeing them, even though it's not
Right.
shooting time,
Right.
I would still be like, oh, I probably should be photographing them or have my camera or something.
But that's what I'm saying. They're going to be like, oh, hey, come with us.
Yeah.
Come do this. So, like, you're not doing the things you want to do when you want to do them with who you want to do them with.
I would just sit in my room for the entire time until it was time to shoot.
To shoot. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting and
Yeah.
it's fun. And if I were booking them through my own business, though, I would just be, okay, especially like a 7-day cruise. The amount I would have to charge
Yeah. To lose 7
to
days.
lose 7 days of work time. I don't think most people would think it was worth it for them.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it any other way because like I only have certain times of the year where I like allocate for vacation time, right? And I can't just like pick that week to be the vacation to do by myself and like leave Ryan at home.
And honestly, like if you ask me right now, is there a week you could shoot something like a full 7 days where I don't have
Mhm.
something, at least one thing booked? Maybe August.
July, maybe.
Yeah. But like,
Well-
I don't know if I could give you 7 days already from what I've already booked this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, like when Amanda asked me if I could do the cruise wedding or the themed cruises, she's threw out the dates for the 2 cruises. And I was like, I literally have 7 things booked already in that 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Like I can't. And even when she asks, like as soon as you guys get off the ship, I almost always have something, because weddings and bar and bat mitzvahs book 1 to 2 years out. And, that means I would need to know cruise dates
Yeah.
2 years out to block the time. Like it's hard.
I agree.
It's hard. But yeah, so the 3-day cruises though, like I would like putting together pricing for that. I have to account, like I'm certainly not offering anything discounted, you know, like it's going to have to be full price and it's going to have to be like your only option is my top package.
And the 3-day cruises are always on a weekend. They're always Friday, Saturday, Sunday because they do 4-3 cruises.
Right.
So those are the days like if it was maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right. I might. Yeah. Yeah.
But not Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, actually, I'm glad we're talking about this because like one of the things that's hardest for me to wrap my head around is like packing for destination things. And they are changing the size requirements for carry-on luggage.
Yeah.
Which I don't think with the new size requirements, my rolling bag. So normally if I'm flying, all of my camera gear and lights is in my rolling bag.
Yeah. And that stays with you no matter what.
That stays with me no matter what. And I will like fight to get at the front of the boarding line to like make sure I have overhead space. Like it is staying with me.
Correct.
And then my light stands and like any other, not non-essential, but like the bracket my lights go into or whatever, that goes in my suitcase that gets checked with my clothes. But they're changing the carry-on sizes and I don't think my rolling bag is small enough to fit on the plane. So I would need either a different rolling bag or like switch to a backpack.
Yeah.
But then like, that's just less,
Yeah.
Where does it all fit?
I agree.
And I definitely don't understand. I mean, I understand how, but like the people that travel for conventions and they're bringing like backdrops and backdrop stands and everything. Like when I travel for a job, I'm bringing like little fold up 6-foot stands.
You ship them. That's how.
No, they have like cases massive cases that they check.
I mean, if you check it, you're just hoping that it'll be.
Yeah, I guess.
Put it in Pelican cases and see on the other side.
Yeah, I do know one of my friends, he did ship stuff
Yeah.
to the destination. Or he's had the company purchase what they wanted for their backdrop or whatever. And then he just brought camera gear and then they kept the backdrops and stands and stuff.
I did this was a while ago, but I went home for a family vacation, like a family reunion. And since I was coming back home to Portland, I was like, we're going to put a post and said, anyone, big Disney photographer coming back, ended up booking like 5 family portrait, like full
That's
family
so
portrait
cool.
sessions. But I didn't want to take light stands and all that stuff. And I know Portland's a big photography town. So I literally just went to a local photography store and rented 2 light stands. It's like $20.
Yep.
And that way I could pack my gear full of gear and everything I needed, and then not have to deal with the light stands.
Yeah, that's a good solution too.
But you can't do that everywhere.
No.
You have to know where you're going.
No.
New York, sure.
Yeah.
Portland, yeah. Topeka, Kansas?
Probably not.
The Bahamas?
Private
No.
resort in the Dominican Republic?
Correct.
Probably not.
So thirsty.
Yeah. So do you have like set travel pricing already ready to go for anything, or do you have to like get the quote and then make custom packages?
Yes and no. It's basically custom. I'll straight up tell them like we do have an all-inclusive package because again that's the way we like to do it. But with that said, I still need to know like it's not going to be like again, let's use a $3,000 wedding and then I add $1,000 for travel. Because that doesn't make sense if I'm going to Topeka or Paris.
Right.
So it's a more like, listen, I'm going to have to get you a very custom quote based on the prices of travel. And we have done it before, and even on cruises where it's like, I've been asked for a cruise. I'm like, well, here's the current rate for a cruise cabin on this. Like we show them, we're very transparent, and we're not talking balcony. Like I even went like, not an inside room, but a window room, cheapest category. This is what it is. Plus our, for a cruise. So that would be your full cost. Like we're not trying to, say, oh, the room is, $2,000 for the weekend, but we're going to charge you $4,000 and then charge you $3,000 for the wedding. No, we're going to be transparent with this is what it costs for the cost for us, but then this is our cost to be a photographer.
So if you're pricing out something where you're flying to another city, do you include like obviously would be hotel and transportation and plane tickets.
Yep.
But like, do you include additional money for like food or like a per diem? I
No, but there's still a buffer
That's
in the pricing of the travel portion. There's still going to be a little buffer because prices fluctuate. Because sometimes you could say like, well, this is what they're now, but then they book a month later
right.
and prices have gone up. So there is going to be a buffer in there. But food and that, like, yes, but it's also, I think that's part of the cost of doing business for me.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. Like,
Well, and to me, like, I'm eating if I'm at home.
Yeah.
And I'm eating if I'm somewhere else. So like, to me,
yeah.
And unless I'm forced to be in a place where like I'm restricted and I can only do certain things, like if we're working like 20-hour days and the only thing to eat is the hotel restaurant that's $60 a person or something like
Correct.
that, I think I would build it in. But otherwise, I don't normally add in like a per diem because like
No.
I would be drinking my coffee or whatever
Regardless.
at
Yeah.
home too.
Yep.
So it's like I just think about what prices or what things I'm incurring because of this travel.
Yeah.
So like I said, transportation, like
For sure.
if I have
That's got to be part of it.
if I have to like get a Uber from the airport to the hotel or whatever it is.
Yeah. Because otherwise that's eaten into your already
Mhm.
profit.
Yeah. Which that profit with that pricing was set for an at-home wedding.
Yeah. For a wedding 15 minutes away,
Right.
not 6 hours.
Right.
Not in Dubai.
Right.
I've never been to Dubai.
That being said, if anyone wants to hire us.
Yeah.
I mean, I really am happy to travel. I just those are all the things I take into consideration
Yeah.
when pricing it.
Like I said, and I feel like, and there's some people that like all they do is destination
Mhm.
weddings. I haven't done them. I've probably, like I said, I've done Hawaii, Portland, and I'm not saying weddings. I'm going to say all shoots. We did one in Vegas, not you, but
Mhm.
Stephanie and I,
Mhm.
where that was actually during the WPPI conference.
Mhm.
So somehow we booked a wedding during that.
Yeah, so that's a big photography conference.
But the wedding was the one night that we were like free
Yeah.
to not be in classes or whatever. So you guys all went out
We did.
and had a party. There's actually a photo right there. And it's missing Stephanie and I because we're working.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things too, was like, oh yeah, I'm going to Vegas, gonna have this fun. But then we still worked and we missed out on
Mhm.
other things. Like there was a big party that we missed out on because we worked.
Yeah.
So you have to, I just try to think that people think like, I'm going to shoot this. It's going to be such a cool vacation. You should not think like that. It's work.
No. Not unless you literally turn it into a vacation and it's somewhere you want to go and you are able to bring whoever you want to travel with.
Yep.
Like, yeah. I will have more work down in South Florida, which is like 3 to 4 hours away from here in Orlando.
My nose is cold. It's really cold. It's cold in Florida for like the 1 week.
But my family lives down there. And so I don't mind because that's
Shout out Don's dad.
that just ends up being like I try to go down there once a month or once every 6 weeks anyway. So I just make that weekend, I had a company hire me to do headshots. I didn't charge them travel because I was like, no, it's an excuse to go hang out with my family.
Yeah.
So like, there are scenarios where it's okay, hopefully you'll be coming with me. We'll have a bat mitzvah down there in 2026.
It's like 6 years away.
I already asked you.
I'm busy.
But
that weekend.
like you're traveling, but you're going to have a very short travel window and I'll be there for like the extended part of the event. So, but again, like that's just going to be my whatever month, April trip for going to see my family.
Yeah.
So,
and like that you can do, and that like helps retain clients. So we're like,
Mhm.
don't worry about travel. This one, I'm already going to be there.
mhm.
But at the same time, do not just travel to make $100.
No.
Unless you're going to go there for longer or an actual vacation out of it.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I can say. Please.
Yes, yes, yes.
We talked about travel prep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is hard for me too, but on those cruises, so I go on a 2-week themed cruise. That's probably the most destination. And that is a shoot where we go from 8 in the morning till 1 a.m. There was no vacation. I actually sit the times that I do have off. I just sit in my room in the dark with my dark thoughts. Because one, this is not my vacation. These cruises are not for me. So there's nothing about it that I want to be a part of. I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Right.
It's just like I'm there all day. So I just want to be alone in my dark thoughts in the room. But it's 2 weeks. So we pack everything. You've seen what we pack. I mean, we bring computers, printers,
paper.
We used to bring backdrops. We don't have to bring backdrops anymore. So much gear because there's 12 of us. Just pallets and pallets of gear. And then we have to shove that in our room along with all the normal what you would pack for 2 weeks on a cruise ship.
Right.
So, you know, but that's okay because we're not flying.
Yeah,
we're lucky.
A little easier.
We're lucky that we get to drive to a port. Obviously, if we were during there, but like, what else do you pack that's like super important for your cruise? Because obviously, it's cameras, it's gear, it's so many batteries, it's battery chargers, memory cards.
That's what's tough with having to pack all of the chargers too, because like you can have everything fully charged beforehand. But let's say it's like now where it's cold out, your batteries are going to drain faster. And what if they drain too fast before you even get to use them? And then, you know, what if you end up picking up something else? You know, like you have to bring all the chargers too.
I also, and I just forgot what I was going to say. Thanks, Dawn. I had a good point.
I'm going to stare at you until you remember it.
Backups.
Oh, yes.
Because I know not everyone has a laptop, but you need to bring something to back it up immediately. The fact that like someone could just leave it in their camera, like I shot the wedding, I'm just going to put it in there, and then when I get home, I'll download it. Yikes.
Yes.
Like I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
I know. Even when I travel on vacation, I download stuff to my iPad, which is syncing to iCloud. So even like I at least have something.
Even if you don't have like, they even make the hard drives now that just have an SD card slot. Just bring up something to back it up for the love of God. And then keep that separate from other things. So in case something goes wrong, you have backups of backups. Because remember, just assume that something's going to get lost.
Right. Or stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I photographed a wedding a few months ago, and at dinner I was hanging out with the videographer. We were just chatting, and we realized we had been in France at the same time when we like we each were on vacation, except he had left his backpack on the back of the chair in the restaurant that had his cameras. It had, I don't know if it has laptop.
I don't like the story. Please stop.
He literally has the security camera footage of someone swiping the backpack right off his chair, and no one at the table even noticed. So yeah, he lost all of his stuff. And it was literally like attached to the chair he was sitting on, and no one noticed. So yeah, assume something bad is going to happen.
So don't go on destinations at all, is what you're saying.
No, but like you said,
$15,000 in camera gear.
You know, if you're doing a backup like that, you have the external hard drive with everything backed up to. That's like in your, you know, fanny pack. It's wherever your passport is.
I usually duct tape it to my chest.
Yeah.
Like, here's the rugged hard drive. It's orange, and then I just
lacy. Yeah. But like you said, keep them separate from the memory card, or take the memory cards out of your camera, have them in a bag in your, you know, travel wallet or wherever.
Tape them to your chest. Chest, whatever.
In your little pocket.
Yeah. No, that would be dangerous. All right. Any other questions? Any other destination tips?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think there's a good overview.
Just don't treat it as a vacation.
What was your favorite destination job that you've done?
Probably Hawaii, because again, I was on the beach in Hawaii and it was really cool. But then that's only fair because we knew going into it. So it was literally, then we switched it into a full vacation. It was in Oahu, and then we left after we flew to Maui, where we stayed and had alone time.
Why you gotta make it weird?
I don't know, because it's Jacob. So that was probably my favorite one of them all.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
I think my favorite was probably the wedding I did in the Dominican Republic, because it was, one of, like, we've talked about having like an unlimited package where, there's not really a cap on how many hours, like, we're here for you.
Yeah.
But they used the hours so well. Like, we did a catamaran ride out to a private island.
That's
and
cool.
They did like, they had so many really fun activities for their, like, to include their guests. So they were making kind of like leis, like necklaces that were going to be worn during the ceremony. And like all of the women that traveled together, they all helped make it. They all got together and they had drinks and whatever, snacks and stuff. And they were all making that together, and like just really cool activities the whole time we were there. And then, then we were on a beach in the Dominican Republic. So, I mean, not a lot to complain about.
I think that shows, though, why the appeal of a destination wedding, because you got to shoot things you would never get to shoot. Would you ever, if I'm shooting in Jupiter, Florida, am I going to go on a catamaran? Nor do I want to. Like, it's too much nonsense when I'm trying to shoot a wedding. But on a destination wedding, that sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
Photos you're going to get that no one else is going to have.
Yes.
That's where it keeps sucking
cool
you back
pictures
in.
of the bride and groom on the beach, like, they were like doing piggyback rides and like just, horsing around and playing together that like we would never do, because like, one, who's going to pay us to come follow them to do that?
I only got 10 minutes before the reception starts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
All right. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Destination weddings. Don't do them. Or do them.
Or do whatever you want.
Do you. All right. What did we shoot this week?
Okay. So this week, I feel like this time of year is just the time of year for headshots. So I had a headshot earlier in the week. And then I had...
New year, new look.
Yep, exactly. New year, new look, potential new job. That's what this person's headshot was for. And then I had a wedding at Disney with Dean.
What's up, Dean?
Yeah. So we froze our butts off. I
saw the photo. I think Dean texted me a photo.
Probably.
Of you sitting like on the ground, bundled in like 100 out like layers of clothes.
Yes. I didn't realize he had done that. Yeah. So I had on my usual like black dress that I always wear. And then I had fleece lined leggings on with my boots that I always wear. And then it was
legit 39 degrees in Florida, just for the record, in Orlando.
Yes. And the reception was 5 hours outdoors. No indoor time. Outdoors.
I'm surprised they kept it out.
Well, they tried to get at least the dinner portion, because it was an Epcot reception. So there's no DJ.
Yeah.
You can't have a DJ before
park
closes. So they had asked, and the couple wanted to stay outside, and they said they had told their guests to dress warmly. So we kept everything outside. No heat lamps either.
You gotta pay for those.
We were real cold.
You really have to pay for those.
I had on a cardigan, and then a sweatshirt, and then a puffy jacket from Uniqlo, and then the Disney issued pea coat, the big black pea coat, which is like 2 sizes too big, because that's all that was available when I went to costuming when I first checked this out like 2 years ago. So that's just what I have. And the wind, because we were right against the water at Epcot. The wind it
was just biting
through. And I had my gloves on, and I was like slipping all over the controls on my camera. I was second, though.
That pea coat reminds me of when I was young and working at Rock and Roller Coaster. I refused not to wear shorts. 24/7, 365. I'm wearing shorts. And I remember being outside on one of these cold, like doing greeter at like 10 p.m. and it's freezing. Pea coat, so you got the coaster shirt on, the coaster vest, the coaster jacket that says Rock and Roller Coaster, and then the giant pea coat, and then just skinny little white legs. And I know my manager came by, like, "You look ridiculous," and I was like, "I feel great." With a giant pea coat.
Yeah, those, I mean, they're so big. Plus I had so many layers underneath that when I finally like went to put it on and like do the buttons up, like it was so puffed out I couldn't really see. Someone else had to button.
Did you ever watch The Simpsons?
No.
There's an episode where Homer takes Marge to a candy convention, and she buys her this giant pea coat that's tan to smuggle all the free candy samples in, and that's how she looks by the end. Yeah. She looks like she's 300 pounds with all this candy sloshing through her.
Oh, and I had the hood up from the puffy jacket.
Of course.
And a scarf.
You look ridiculous.
So ridiculous. One of the catering staff had on like a battery powered heated vest.
Okay. We're getting real.
Yes. We didn't realize it until like 2 hours in. And then Dean spent the rest of the night like, steal his vest, steal his vest.
Dean bought 3 on Amazon that night until he caught on fire.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, it was a very nice wedding. It was actually just the reception. So we did first look portraits and then the party. We had some special Disney guests come. It was a good time. So yeah, that was my week.
All right.
What about you?
Well, as you know, I got a little sicky last week. Luckily, I didn't have much to do. So I didn't have a big wedding because if I would have been at the wedding. Stage sickness. But so I stayed in bed for 2 days because for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because I'm an only child and I didn't get sick as a kid. These childhood illnesses from my children hit me real hard.
It's called the man flu.
It is. So like 2 days, I'm out of my butt and then I'm fine. But so I was out for that. But then I had another freelance wedding as well. I don't even remember it because I was probably still delirious from whatever flu I had.
I got some text messages.
Yeah.
You were there.
I was there. So I think everything else. But it was like I said, we're in our slow-ish period. So, and I purposely don't overbook myself too much this time because I know like, hey, I got like February and March is bonkers. So just give me a couple of weeks of this. Because it's ramping up real quick.
Are you like fully caught up on all of your editing and like client delivery? I have one job left that I have to deliver.
I just finished it. Actually, it was while I was sick. Before I like really got bad, I had to get the gallery out. So that last day I was just like...
Well, by then you're on like the end of the dance picture.
And then I told Chris, I was like, will you please double check it? Because she always does it anyway. But I was like, I don't know if I actually... Who knows what I 5-starred or like... But they had an after party. So it was already like the after party sloppiness. That we were only there for 30 minutes. So hopefully like I was just like, just double check that I didn't.
Right.
Because I don't remember doing any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm caught up now.
I just have that one job left.
Until next week.
All right.
Not photography, huh?
Not photography.
We should stay in theme.
We will stay in theme.
What is it?
We're going to do our top 3 destinations.
Okay. Anywhere. City or like...
Just anything.
Anything.
Anything you want to talk about. Top 3.
Okay. Let's go in any order.
Okay.
You can do top 3. I'm going to do mine in...
No particular order.
No particular order.
Yeah, because I can't really rank mine.
Yes, you can.
I've been thinking about how to rank them and I can't decide.
It's written right there. I can see it.
Well, I was going to just be mean to Jacob and say my favorite was Tokyo. Just because I know. Oh. But actually, my favorite was in Tokyo. We actually preferred our time in Kyoto.
Who doesn't?
When we went to Japan. Because, I don't know, there was something like magical about Kyoto. Well, to compare it to Tokyo, there was a certain point we hit in Tokyo where we were like, oh, look, another Sega store. Oh, look, another camera store. Like, it started to all look very similar. Where like Kyoto, I felt like you could just wander and stumble upon things. So like, since we've been home, we still follow like different travel vloggers all over the world, and they'll like recommend temples to visit or shrines to visit. And like, they were the ones we accidentally saw because they weren't on our itinerary. But the coolest thing that happened, we were walking through Kyoto and we saw this like parade happening. We saw people like carrying like on the wooden sticks, they were carrying something. And then a lot of people were in like robes and like, we didn't know what it was. And so it was rainy and disgusting. So we ducked into this little shop to have lunch. And then while we were in there, we were figuring out what was going on. We decided to follow the rest of the parade. And it went to this shrine that was celebrating, basically they had done this cherry blossom festival every year since the year 950. And that's
like 200 years.
And they only celebrate it one day a year. And we like just happened to catch it and follow them. And we got to hear like the monks doing their prayers and just like witness. I mean, there were very few tourists. Well, I shouldn't say very few, but it wasn't like a tourist centric thing.
How many gimbals were there?
Not many.
See?
Not many. But I mean, there were, foreigners there. who were just kind of watching. But like, this is something that was not happening for tourists. It was happening for this shrine and this community.
Yeah.
And we just like accidentally saw it. And it was very cool. It was very cool too, because, you know, you hear about like how old things are in Asia, but then like you realize the really old building you're looking at has burned down 17 times, and the one you're looking at is younger than you are. So we were like a little, we got a little jaded, like, but has it really been around for that long? But like, this is something that really had been going every year for that long. So Kyoto.
And that was not in Tokyo Disneyland.
That was not in Tokyo
Okay.
Disneyland. No.
All right.
No. So,
Fair enough.
Kyoto, Japan.
I'm going to throw New York City out there, and for a couple of reasons, because, you know, I've been to New York as a younger kid, as a teenager, and we did all the touristy stuff. And we took our kids there and we did all the touristy stuff. And I love it for the touristy stuff. The Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building and Times Square to get a real New York slice of pizza, you know, all the. But lately, we have friends that have obviously live in New York City, and they have a pretty good career in New York City. So we've been visiting them and staying with them, and then doing more New Yorker things, going to restaurants that you would never think about, going to places you would never hear of. And that has really made me like the city. Don't want to live there. Don't get me wrong. But just like doing those things, you know, getting on the subway and like doing it efforts like we live there. Like it's kind of cool to be now that we know it so well. My favorite moment of all time, this was a few years ago. It was before COVID, but I'm standing on a sidewalk waiting, I think, for Crystal to come out of a shop or something. And I probably am wearing a shirt similar to this, jeans and a Peak Design sling backpack across, and a UPS, and I hadn't shaved, so I was a little scruffy, right? And a UPS guy comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, which one's 2167 or whatever?" And I look like, "Do you think I live here?" And I looked at the things, and I was like, "That one?" He's like, "Ah, thanks."
That's a fun moment.
I was like, "I made it."
Yeah.
I'm truly a hipster in New York.
Yeah.
But no, now that we've made some friends there that showed us some really cool places, and places that you would be like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to go here." And then you're like, "No, it's not. It's actually not bad. It's not scary. Everyone's just doing their thing. It's just a regular person."
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff has made me really fall in love with New York a little bit more than just the touristy stuff.
I feel like whenever I go, because one of my cousins lives in Brooklyn, and so whenever I go to see her, you know, a lot of times, like, she still has work, or at one point she was in school, and I would literally just like follow her and like do her day with her.
Yeah.
And it always made me wish that at some point I had either done like a internship in New York City, or like, I don't know, some short term where I got to live there.
Yeah.
Because I think I would really enjoy it. But I don't think I want my life to be there.
No. That's like a 20, 30-year-old dream.
Cool.
What else you got?
So there was a point shortly after college, I guess, where I had a couple different sets of friends who had moved to San Diego, which meant I was traveling out to San Diego to see them several times. And it got to just be like, I had always traveled to visit family in New Jersey, and then I lived here in Florida. So like that wasn't a big deal, but it was kind of like the first destination that I went to as an adult by myself, or like with a friend or whatever, but like it wasn't family related,
Sure.
You know, and like getting to go, we always ended up in La Jolla where all the seals were, and, you know, just like sitting out. It felt so glamorous and like different from Florida. I don't know.
I'll allow that.
But even like hiking in the mountains, like we don't have mountains here, you know, like it was just a whole different world, it felt like. But getting to experience it kind of like you were saying, like as a daily life person, like I didn't really vacation. I was just like going to see my friends and how they lived their lives. Although I will say, one of those times we were visiting my friend Sean, and
What's up, Sean?
he lived in a house that didn't have air conditioning, because like a lot of houses in San Diego don't have air conditioning. And I happened to go when they were having a massive heat wave, and it was like 98 degrees the whole time we were there. It was
like, bro,
a little uncomfortable. But yeah, San Diego. And then I've also done a half marathon there with my sister.
that sounds awful.
It was wonderful.
Did they hand out tacos while you're doing it?
No.
Then what's the point?
But I almost died.
Okay.
So yeah, so I've gone, actually that's 3 sets of friends then that have lived in San Diego at different times where we've like used it as an excuse to go there. So
Okay.
it's like,
Sure.
all right, go ahead.
Mine is going to be Alaska as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got the taste of Alaska and I really want to go back. So I've been to 3 different cities there. And yeah, I was on a cruise. So like, again, you're still getting just those little tastes and it's still a little touristy, even though for a couple of days we just walked way past, like we left the port and actually went to the, but I loved everything about Alaska. That air, that crisp air. Oof. I'm from the Pacific Northwest and I thought our air was crisp.
Yeah.
That is a whole nother level of crisp.
Well, just the pictures that you guys posted from the ship
Yeah.
were insane.
So there's something to me about, again, like you could move to Alaska in a cabin with your dark thoughts and just sit on the water and look at that all day long.
I'm concerned about your dark thoughts.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just really like Alaska. And again, it was one of the best vacations we ever had. I would love to visit again I would still do a cruise there anytime. That was my favorite cruise. If you could just say, what cruise do you want to go on? Alaska. Screw the Bahamas. But to go there now, maybe Sands cruise and actually start visiting some of the towns and, just the hiking. I mean, we spent one day just hiking. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And we don't hike. We're from Florida. It's too hot.
I know. It's too hot. And what are you going to do? Hike in some sand?
Correct.
Like it's just not the same.
Yeah.
We used to hike so much when we lived in Georgia, but here, it doesn't.
No.
Why?
Just so I get some swamp ass? Yeah. No. But I'm saying Alaska as a whole was just a top destination. Loved everything about it. So pretty.
So my next one is Colmar, which is in the Alsace region in France. So it's along the German border. And it's like a very German-inspired area. So the half-timber houses and everything. And there's debate whether it's Colmar or another nearby town that was the inspiration for the town that Beauty and the Beast is set in. So there's an actual fountain that we visited. Hey.
Oh, sorry.
Hey.
My eyes started rolling.
Hey.
Sorry.
There's a fountain that we visited where it looks like they got straight out of the scene where Belle is singing at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast.
The one that they drew that's fake.
Yeah, but it's basically it's exactly the same.
All right.
So that was my excitement in wanting to go there, but it's just such a cute town with all of the
Is it a quiet village or is it loud? No, I'm sorry. Is that full of people?
Anyways.
Yeah. They have a Dick Baker.
No. But yeah, just so adorable. We took the cutest little boat tour and had dinner in these restaurants that were along the river and just again, similar to Kyoto, we had very little in our agenda for being there and just getting to walk around and explore. They're one of the towns where all of the buildings, all the houses are different colors. And some places your houses were painted different colors based on your religion or your trade or whatever. So this was based on the different jobs that the head of the house had.
Which one would we be in? The shack
didn't exist.
Yeah. They're that's not a real job.
We would have a straw house. So yeah, Colmar in France.
All right.
Good food, cute spot.
B&B
Lots
vibes.
of fun.
My last is going to go from my childhood pick up until now because I still love it, but it's the place I used to go the most, but it is Disneyland. Specifically Disneyland in California. Always Disneyland. If I had to choose one park for the rest of my life to go to, it would be Disneyland. Okay. Again, growing up on the West Coast, that is the place we went to. We didn't come to Disney World that often. We went twice, but Disney World 2 or 3 times a year. So, I know it's probably not the most glamorous destination, but it'll always hold a lot in my heart. It's a special place for me. I still love going back. Haven't been since, we went 2 years ago. We went in 2021, 2022, 2023. I don't know. All time is lost. It was 2023. We went 2023. Still great. Still love it. Still would go back anytime. I mean, what more needs to be said about Disneyland? But it is my favorite, and it will always be. It made me fall in love with theme parks, and Disney World just can't compete. It's where I live now.
I feel like everyone always prefers where they first had their Disney experience.
Maybe.
I feel like it's common for people to be like, no, like I'm diehard Disneyland because that's where I went as a kid.
But I've had plenty of friends that came here that work here, and I took them to Disneyland for the first time. They're like, this now I'm comparing to Magic Kingdom.
Right.
As a resort, whatever. It's not even close.
Right. You
It's
can't
not
really
fair.
compare them. Yeah.
But if you just chose the Magic Kingdom versus Disneyland, I don't know how few people in the world can be like, wow, this Magic Kingdom with like 20 less rides and is way better.
Well, we went to Disneyland for the first time, I think in 2022. And my like biggest impression of it was like how tiny people used to be because I know I'm not like the skinniest person, but I am not the largest person either. And it was a tight squeeze, like even through like the stanchions.
But you have to remember, it was built before
I know
they knew what they were doing. It was the first of its kind. So they didn't, realize people were going to get big. They didn't know that they would need this much land and build them this big. So I think that's part of the charm. Everything is just kind of.
Yeah, it was special to be like where Walt actually had been.
Yeah, you can feel it. It's cheesy, but you can feel it. I don't get those feelings at Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, anywhere. But I do get at Disneyland.
All right. Okay.
Is that it? I thought you had another one.
No.
Oh, that was a 3 already? I'm losing my voice, so it's time to go.
Okay, bye.